There's a strange game on cruise ships. My name's Gary Dean. I'm your Blue Hat Bucket List traveler. Did 34 cruises in 43 months, saw the world by cruise ship, drove all 48 states and 10 provinces in that same 43 months. So a lot of travel. Got it all done before I turned 60, so happy with that. So the game on the cruise ships is duck hunting. And my very first cruise in October 2022 on the NCL Jewel, we were in the Etsy gift shop jewelry store place because they were having the free draws and there was people around and my mom was talking to everybody as she does, and they were like, oh, we love to hide ducks there and over there, and we were like, ducks, what's with the ducks? And so they explained that you hide a duck and you find a duck or hide a duck, you can re-hide the duck, you can do all the stuff with the duck. So we had no idea, and you can Google the history of it. It was started by a young girl, I believe, on, I don't even think it was NCL, I think it was a different cruise line, and then it just evolved into different cruise lines. And always check too in case it's been updated. You'll always, oh, they're going to cancel the duck hunting, they don't like you hiding ducks anymore and things like that. But I don't know, it always seems to keep going on. So I'm right now in Cape Town. I get on the NCL Sun on Sunday in May here, and we're going to do 22 days up through West Africa, through Canary Islands into Spain, and then Portugal, and then London, England get off. So 22 days. So I brought a bunch of ducks. And this is my 34th and final cruise. So I'm going to do lots. I don't even know how many pieces are in here. I think 50 though, if I had to guess. And then I got a bunch of duck keychains. I'm going to hide those as well. And I got my tags and elastics and, all the stuff you need to make it fun. So what's with the duck hunting? Well, it's exciting to find one. And while I'm hunting the ducks, I'm getting exercise. I'm walking the ship. So I walk the ship. I'm doing it anyways. I need exercise. So I walk the ship. But I don't know if I'd walk as much if I wasn't hunting ducks, right? So I walk the ship morning, noon, and night. I do 3 trips, the whole ship. And then the decks are on NCL anyways, which is what I mostly cruise. You have your atrium deck, usually deck 6 or 7. You've got your atrium deck, and then below that you've got your or above it, either way, you've got your shopping deck and theaters and whatnot. And then you've got usually your 8th, so 6, 7, and 8, and your 8th floor will be O'Sheen's, the restaurant area. That's usually a good place. So, and I do the staircases, the front, the middle, and the back. I was trying to think of the aft and, all these terms, but front, middle, back, how's that for stairs? Those 3 floors. And the bars and the casino is usually on 6 or whatever. So yeah, so that's my route. I do 6, 7, 8, and then back down and, go back and forth a couple times. Go up to Spinnaker Lounge on the very top floor, usually deck 12 or 13, and around the buffet area to check that. And then the Entourage video game, they got the arcade kind of set up in there. I check that out as well. Check out the library and the card room, which will be up by Spinnaker Lounge usually. So that's what I do. And that's also where I hide them. Now, you're kind of competing with the crew, the cleaners. That's who you're competing with, or just the workers. If I was on one cruise ship and they had on the Prima, one of those newer ones, and they had some stuff set up in the middle of one of the floors, a gift store type thing. I don't know. I think she was selling the jewelry by the inch or whatever type thing. But yeah, she saw me looking in one of the plant, the potted plant kind of areas. That's another thing to always check, the plants, or if it's Christmas, the Christmas trees. But anyway, she saw me looking in one of the pots for the plants. They're fake plants, so it's like fake pots, fake dirt or whatever. Anyways, and she said, oh, is there anything there? And I said, no. And she said, oh, I found 3 there already. So she's excited and she's looking. And I used to, be like, what's the crew doing? This is for the passengers, but, they've got families back home and they're as excited as we are to find them. So I just, whoever finds it, let it go. Hope it brings joy. But I do try to hide, if early morning, I don't hide. They're cleaning, those cleaners, I think they get off work probably around 7, 8 a.m. Once the guests are roaming around, there's less cleaning. Before that, it's full on cleaning, like, the 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. They're doing top to bottom. So if there's a duck around, they're going to find it. And if they didn't clean properly. So anyways, I try to hide, say, like, after 8 a.m. and then up to around, 9 or 10 p.m. around the theater, getting out times and that's kind of where, my things. I prefer to hide them on a sea day. More people are obviously around on the ship on a sea day, so they're looking more. And I hunt more on a sea day too. If I'm doing excursions and I'm tired, obviously if I'm off the ship doing an excursion for 5-6 hours, that's less duck hunting time that I did. So I'll just look in the morning on my way to breakfast and look at night a little more as I walk off my dinner. Trying to think and I think that people that are other people that are hiding and looking, they're pretty much following my schedule. And some cruises are just not going to be for duck hunters. I did a cruise out of Lima. The South Americans weren't hiding ducks. Didn't think I would find any. I was on that ship 29 days, and miraculously I found 4 or 5 ducks, which was a miracle. I always hide at least one a day, so I hit at least 29, but probably more. And I managed, like I said, to find 4 or 5 or whatever. So that was a miracle, and they were hidden by, North Americans were hiding them. And that's because they know about it, right? Those people, from different countries, you get on a cruise ship in Norway or somewhere, they're not up on the duck thing. And if they see one, the odd time though, it's kind of, oh, what's that sitting by the elevator? And they'll go and look and keep it or just walk right by it. They don't, it doesn't trigger them that it's something. And sometimes if I see them looking at it, I'll explain to them what's going on, because that's somebody explained to us what it was, and that's how we got involved. If you don't know, you don't know. So always pass it on. Don't get upset if you see people from the crew grabbing them. I saw one, there's duck groups on Facebook where they ask you to post if you found one and whatnot. I usually don't bother anymore, but I used to. Usually just too busy, I forget. And most people do. And most people don't have internet on the ship, so if you're hiding them and you're checking the duck group and, oh, nobody's finding my ducks. No, somebody found it, and they might not have paid internet, so they're not going to post. They might post when they get home, so check, over the following, once the cruise is over, have a look, and they might get home and then have some time and do it. But if not, you'll read posts in the duck groups, oh, I hit 50 ducks and nobody, I never got any. Bring joy to the world and be happy that those 50 people that found it, whether it was crew or a tourist or who it was, brought joy, right? I've got, I don't have all my ducks because I couldn't, that I found, but I found, probably 100, maybe 200, lots and lots of ducks I found. I've even been on ships where I'd be walking the hallway, and somebody will have it hanging on their door, give one, take one, perfect. Hey, that's an easy find, give one, take one. So there's an easy duck to find. The other place, like I just mentioned, is by the elevators. A lot of people, even me, myself, sometimes put them there. That's an easy one to find. Just set it on deck 7, set it by the sign by the elevator, poof, somebody going to find it and be happy. I found them on the floor of the elevator. Somebody just tossed it in. I found it just walking down a hallway, just any deck, and it'll be just sitting by the stairs or by the, by a picture frame or wherever. So when I'm with Pink Hat, she would find them. Check the internet cafe. That's always a good area. She found more than me because I'm looking always, because I hide them on the picture frames and whatnot and are up higher. But she was looking low, yeah, and there'd be some in the corners, and yeah, she found a lot. And yeah, she was new to the duck hunting. She was so excited. It was so much fun, and I'm happy. If she was happy, I was happy. It was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of. She got tired of hiding them, and then, she'd put it down and she'd go back, and sure enough, she'd see one of the crew walking by and grab it. Oh, I was going to say, I've seen photos of the crew they'll post in the Facebook groups, and they've got like 700 ducks in their room, but that's a meme, I know they get, that's like all the crew gathered them up that they had found over the years, and they just did this one photo kind of meme thing, because I know they don't find that many. And a lot of them, when they get done their contract, they take them home and give them as gifts to their nieces and nephews and whatnot. So the duck is gonna always bring joy wherever it goes. So if you don't know anything about it, these ducks, I buy them on Amazon, but you can, some people buy them on sale at different places. It's roughly like 25 to 50 cents a duck if you buy them in bulk. So, this is going to be $25 for the whole 22 days of fun. Hiding a couple a day. Keychains are even cheaper than that. And yeah, my mom buys a lot of this stuff and does it as well. My mom bought all these kind of keychains too. Oh, she bought these little sunglasses go on the duck. See that? Pretty cool, eh? Give you a demo. Gee, they really bagged this good. Anyways, yeah, these sunglasses, they fit the ducks very good. How cool does he look now? And she had at one time she did a bunch of winter hats for him and stuff, so that was pretty fun. I'm trying to find, I saw, yeah, these are the other keychain ducks. I found a couple of those, I kept mine. And, it's more useful even than just a rubber duck. This is actually, somebody can put a key on it and use it for something, so. And these are the latest ones my mom got, and they're like kind of a 3D duck. And they're keychains, so very useful. So that's the duck hunting story. I do buy the labels, and it just mainly so they know what cruise I write on there. This one I'll write West Africa Cruise NCL Sun May 2026. I'll just put that on there. Sometimes, Gary, my name, and I'm from Canada. Okay, that's the duck story. Hope you enjoy it. And become one. If you're going to cruise, it adds a lot of fun to the deal and gets you some exercise too looking for them. Cheers.